reps are repetitions, or how many times you do a given exercise, such as how many times you can lift the the dumbbell in a bicep curl. Sets are how many of those repetitions you can do at a time. You should usually do around 10 or 12 repetitions in a certain set. If you do 15 repetitions in a set, that's usually when the weight is too light and you should build it up the weight. In overload, however, you should also only be able to do around like 5 repetitions when you're overloading yourself with weights. To show our understanding of proper techniques and safety measures, I'll show you how to do the lat pull down, which also, lat stands for latissimus dorsi, which is part of the back. So what you gotta do is you gotta make sure your knees and legs are buckled down. Grab the bar, pull it down towards you, and all the way to your chest, leaning back slightly, and then repeat.
So as an example of proper technique of the low row, you have to sit down right here and put your feet up right here and make sure that your knees are at 90 degrees. Then you pull back up to your chest, make sure that your back and the shoulder blades are pinched backwards, and you should feel it in your back, and then you push it down, you move back a little bit, and you pull it back and make sure your back is straight.
To show our understanding of the different muscle groups, we'll be talking about how different muscle groups are used during different exercises. For example, during the bench press, the main muscle groups used are the pectoralis major, the deltoid, anterior fascicles, and the triceps brachii, medial head and long head. Just to be showing the upward movement, trying to push the bar up in the bench press.
Another example of our understanding of muscle groups is by showing sit-ups, which is a very common exercise. Over here, the sit-ups use the abdominal muscles, the quadriceps, and the tensor muscles in our hips. If all of these muscles are used correctly, your body should move up towards your knees and the neck should not be strained. So to demonstrate overload, instead of doing my usual 34 kilograms, I will be increasing it to 45, which is the highest that I'm able to do. This will allow my body to improve in the long term, instead of staying in the same and then just being able to do more reps of the lower amounts. So overload, you should only be able to do a couple reps of, and it should be really, really hard. Interval training is beneficial because it forces the body to go faster than usual or push yourself harder than you would usually do in a cardiovascular activity session. So what you do is you go faster for a short period of time, and then you would take a short, sort of almost like a break, but you're still doing very very low active cardiovascular activity, and then you keep changing in between these. What this does is it forces your body to fatigue itself, and then after fatiguing itself, you get to rest, and then your body becomes better at recovery from fatigue.
Here's an example of doing interval training on the elliptical. What you first do is just go at your regular pace, at like your regular effort level. To do the interval training part, however, you turn up the effort level and you go faster for a short period of time. When you feel like you can't take it anymore, you go back to your regular level to rest and recover until you feel up to do the harder version again.
The benefits of using multiple cardio machines is that your body will never really get used to doing each one of these machines, and for that reason your body can never really get very strong at doing one, and that if you get really strong at one, you'll never really be able to improve. So by changing it up, your body sort of goes into this unnatural sort of pattern, and it never gets to get used to these, and then it keeps having to work hard to get stronger at each of them. Heart rate zones should be used as a guide to measure how much effort you are putting into your workout. In this specific example, there are 3 heart rate zones: the vigorous physical activity, the moderate physical activity, and the warm-up. Out of these 3, if you want maximum effort level, you should be trying to be aiming for the vigorous physical activity. This should be around 80 to 90% of your effort level. So depending on your age, the beats per minute that your heart should be pumping at to stay in the vigorous physical activity level would vary. If you're looking for a more moderate, as the name says, moderate physical activity, you'd want to be aiming for that category. This would be good for light jogs, walks outside, anything that you'd want to keep yourself sort of in a fit shape. If you just want to warm up for a coming workout, you should be staying in the warm-up zone. This is also where you might be if you're doing a very, very light walk. The benefits of staying in heart rate zones might be to increase your capability at staying at very high sort of physical activity zones. So if you're aiming to stay at very high effort levels for a very long amount of time, you might be aiming to try and stay in the vigorous physical activity zone for longer. If you want to maintain long distance running and make sure you're running very far and you don't get exhausted, you might want to train inside the moderate physical activity level.